I can only imagine what's running through your head right now. What are the things that you're thinking about?
There's a lot going through my head. I'd be lying to you if I said there wasn't. I think any senior in the entire country would say the same thing. There's a lot of things being said, possible outcomes of our football season, our last football season, and it's pretty crazy, and I've completely eliminated myself from social media for the past week. Like I haven't, since camp started, I haven't been on social media at all, and I'm still hearing about all these things just through my teammates and on TV and all these things, and it's a lot to process, and I've been trying my best to not let it be a distraction and really focus on what I can control. And that's what I've been trying that's the message that I've been giving to all my teammates as well. And, my other, teammates that are seniors, all we can do is focus on right now and where our feet are at. And right now we're playing football and we're practicing, and that's what we need to focus on and do the best we can, to show up and be our best every single day. And then whatever happens. And, if it does go south, we'll deal with it accordingly and be ready, regardless. That's the thing, is this team's going to be ready no matter what. It's just a matter of when we're going to play, and we'll be ready whenever that time comes.
The Big 12 earlier pushed to move their football schedule into the spring. What would be your thoughts on playing football in the spring?
It'd be something different, something new. But, man, if I get to play, I get to play. That's all I want to do. I just want to play football, whenever that time may be. If it's fall, spring, next fall, I don't know. But I just want to get the ball in my hands and go compete one last time. That's all this is. That's all that worries me, is I just want to play football whenever that time is, whenever that's right. Obviously I want everybody to be safe. I'm not being oblivious to what's going on and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I think speaking for everybody, it would just be nice to have some answers, and for things not to just keep getting, pushed around of, oh, we're meeting next week. And, like there's just so many things of uncertainty every single day, and how things can change in 24 hours, that it's very hard on a player. And, I think if we were to just get some answers, we'd be able to process with what that would look like, whether if that's what we'd want or not. And, for me, I wouldn't be opposed to playing in the spring or playing in the winter, whatever. Just give me a football and let's go play. Let's go play. And that's all I want to do.
Thank you.
Mitchell.
Hey, Skylar, hope you've been doing well. What level – so, of course, you guys had the outbreak back in June, and Coach Kleiman said that was a blessing that it had happened then as opposed to maybe later on now. But still, a pandemic looms, right? What level of fear is there on the team that it could be something that impacts the team again?
I think it just realistically speaking, in June, we figured out how fast this virus can spread, and I think that is something to be noted and be aware of. I wouldn't say it's necessarily that we're scared or fearful of it. It's more so of like, this is something that we're really going to have to be cognizant of and not take lightly, if that makes sense. And, that starts with all of us just wearing our masks, covering our nose, taking all the precautions that our medical staff has been giving us. And our coaches have done a great job of making a social distance, wearing masks in meeting rooms, and we're doing all the right things, and that's all we can do. And I think by us doing that, it takes the fear away from it quite a bit, just because we are doing the right things, and that's all we can do. And if something were to outbreak, we'll us wearing our masks and doing the proper protocols that we're told to do is going to limit the contact tracing. It's going to limit people getting, put in quarantine and those types of things. So that's super, super vital that we understand and follow that, which we've been doing. And we just got to continue to do that. And I think that will take some of the fear out of it.
So with the amount of time that's been lost for preparing for the season, and there was a time period where you guys weren't even allowed on campus in the weight rooms, how much of an impact has that time lost had on the team's development?
Honestly, I wouldn't say a lot. I think as far as just in the past 4 days of practice, you can tell, or 5 days, that, guys are a little rusty. You can tell that at times we haven't been in pads for 8 or 9 months, including myself, as far as just like, I haven't thrown a football with shoulder pads on for 10 months, but I've been training and throwing tons during quarantine and everything. So I'm pretty used to throwing without them, to where now I'm trying to get accustomed to having a little bit more resistance up there. But I think our whole team as a whole is in the best, shape as far as our camaraderie and continuity. I feel like we have a lot of good stuff going on and brewing up with our team. We're really close, and we were doing a lot of great things in the winter, just requiring all of our meals to be team meals and sitting down and eating together before all this COVID stuff hit. That we made a lot of progress, and guys got to, know and create relationships with guys that, maybe that they haven't really had in the past. And I think that just, even as simple as just eating a meal together, you find out something about somebody that you didn't know beforehand, and that just instantly makes you more closer to them. So I think that, we've had a lot of communication too throughout this COVID stuff. We created a team group chat that we basically talked throughout quarantine. And we got on Zooms. We did a whole bunch of different things just to try to continue to build those relationships and keep that stuff going, even through the midst of all that time away.
Hey, Skylar.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Hey, you and I have talked before about this, but, Coach was talking about how leadership is so important right now, especially with these younger guys. You got to wear masks all the time, and you saw what happened in the outbreak in June and what you could learn from that. So do you feel out of this, you've really helped this team as a leader kind of, gear towards you guys having no positive tests and doing everything you need to do to be ready in case there is a season that starts September 12th? You feel pretty happy and comfortable with the way you've evolved in that leadership role?
Yes. Yeah. I truly, I believe I've done everything I can do up to this point. And this has been a challenging time to be in a leadership position, just because there's so much uncertainty. There's even I don't know what's going on. So I can't sit here and, a younger guy asked me, Skylar, what's going on? What do you know? I'm like, man, I don't know. And that's hard for me. I wish I had answers. I wish I could, tell people what's going on and help the younger guys out that's trying to figure things out right now. But I've just been, trying to just embrace all of this and truly just focus on what I can control and how I show up every single day. Yesterday I let a lot of outside talk and rumors kind of affect my day. Like at the end of the day, I got home and was laying in bed and was just thinking about my day, which I do a lot. And, I wasn't a good leader yesterday. I allowed a lot of outside voices take away from the way I showed up at practice and led my team yesterday. And, I have the honest self-assessment, and I think that's what really has has impacted my leadership is having that self-assessment and my growth as a leader of being able to realize that and admit that. And, I'm going to be better today, like I'm not going to allow that stuff to happen. And that's what people have to realize, like us as young men, as leaders, like we're not superheroes, we don't have capes on our back. There's times where we go through things as well, and we face adversity. And no matter what you see on social media, social media is our highlight reel. Like, that those are all the positives that's going on in our life. But at the end of the day, that's not who we are, and directly, and what we go through and what we face on a daily basis. And, this has been a challenging time for me as well, but through my faith and, my past experiences, it's prepared me for times like this, and to remain locked in on what's important and how to handle those things to the best of my ability. And like I said, I'm not perfect, but I'll be danged to let one day take away from today. Let yesterday dictate how I show up today. I'm ready to go. I'm having fun. It's been so fun to get the ball back in my hands and go and compete with my teammates. There's guys flying around. You can tell we're having fun and competing. And the guys John, there's people playing physical. It's good to see Justin Hughes out there, even though he talks just a little too much. I do have a lot of fun competing against him, man, and I missed it. So that's what we got to keep doing. We just got to keep focusing on those things. And me as one of the leaders on the team, I'm going to keep enforcing, positive messages. Just enforce positivity. That's the best thing you could do, because you speak negative thoughts, whether it's to yourself or to someone else. That stuff is so contagious and it spreads like wildfire, so we just got to remain positive, and keep spreading that love with one another, and be there for one another. And, we do that whenever the time comes that we strap it up and get to play. We'll be ready for it, and there'll be nothing stopping us. Cause if we can get through these, tough times, they really, they shape people into who they want to be. And it'll either make you or break you, and I've been telling our guys that this time is going to make us a great team, because, there's not going to be a lot more, challenging situations that we're going to be put through. So that's been my message to everybody.
Wow, I'm ready to strap it up and go out there. Good, inspiring words. But were some of the things bothering you, just hearing about other conferences, maybe closing down? Was that kind of just part of what was weighing on you?
Yeah, 100%. And I think just me being a senior, it's just scary. It's scary getting my last year taken away or getting moved, and this is being anything but normal, and that has been heavily on my heart and my mind for the past 24 hours, just seeing that this is real. We got, the Big Ten canceled, and I think the Pac-12 just canceled and moved to the spring. So, this isn't a joke. And that's what I was kind of just stating earlier about how, like, I feel like some of us across the country as college student athletes get viewed as superheroes, but we go through it too. And this is heavy on our hearts too. And, not trying to sound selfish or anything, but this is our life. This is a big part of my life. And we have invested so much time into this. During quarantine, I was, waking up and working out in my basement and staying in a routine. I was doing everything I could have done to keep myself ready for my senior year and getting to play and getting an opportunity to play. And the fact that is up in the air if this is going to happen is hard to process. And it puts a lot of weight on your shoulders. But like I said, that's where my faith comes into play. And I know this whole situation is out of my hands, and that has given me peace. And like I said, it's not like I'm invincible and, I'm numb to everything. Like, no, I feel it. I feel the weight, and have that little bit of scarcity inside of me. But at the same time, I know the Lord's working, and I trust in that. And I know whenever the time comes that I'm going to be ready for it, and it's going to be the perfect timing.
Thanks, Skylar. Great job.
All right, we'll go two more here. Ryan Black first, and then John Kurtz. Go ahead, Ryan.
Hey, Skylar, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Hey, so I guess I kind of had two questions, but Ryan, for your sake, I'll limit it to one. I guess the fact that you guys did not have spring ball, what was the thing that you feel like you personally missed out on the most? Like, what were your goals for the spring that since you guys didn't get out there, what do you feel like you missed?
I think just for me, the spring is such a great time for an experienced player that has had experience, that played the full season before, because just like you said, you can really assess your performance during that season. And hey, these are 15 practices that I can focus on these things to get better at. And I think for me, even though we didn't have spring ball, I still highlighted those areas and I got better at those. But what I missed out on is just having live bullets flying at me. Like one of the biggest things for me was improving in my pocket presence and being able to step up in the pocket and being able to progress through my third and fourth reads. And that's a lot different when I'm at home getting beanbags thrown at me compared to Wyatt Hubert and Khalid Duke coming at me. Tell you what, it's a lot different and a lot bigger and a lot faster, to say the least. But I think just the live bullets and it's a lot different throwing routes on air. It's and to a receiver, you can work on your timing and do all those things. But when they're getting pressed up and playing man coverage, sometimes that timing can be dictated and be altered a little bit. And also seeing coverages. I can sit there and throw routes on air all day and be 100 for 100. But that's just not realistic. Because at the end of the day, there's going to be 7 or 8 guys dropping into coverage. And finding windows and all that type of stuff. So I feel like that's what I missed out on the most. I would say just missing those live bullets flying. I feel like that's the biggest one.
Last one here, John Kurtz.
Yeah, Skylar, just from a practice standpoint, following all the protocol that you guys have to, how much trickier does that make a practice? How much more difficult is it as opposed to last year or earlier years in your career?
Yeah, I would say the practice aspect isn't as different because we have face shields on, we have gaiters up over our face whenever we don't have a helmet on, to where we don't have to be as strict on the social distancing aspect of things. But I think the biggest difference for me is just like what makes it just hard is, I feel like leadership and being a great teammate is a contact sport. It's a contact thing. And loving up on your guys and being a leader, like, man, like you gotta love up on your teammates and that involves contact. Dapping each other up or hugging each other after a touchdown or, getting each other's face and celebrate, like that stuff is that is part of the game. And that's stuff that I do all the time. And I think the biggest difference for me is having to think like, oh, I can't do that, beforehand, or trying to be aware of, those types of things after, Noah Johnson's get up and screaming in my face after we score a touchdown or have a big play. Just those little things that we have to limit and not do, I think, and just have that thought in our head is hard. But that, and then just the ability to breathe. The ability to breathe is obviously a challenge, and that's going to take time to, us just getting used to that. But there you do catch yourself where the air is really, really stagnant inside of your helmet, and you can't lift it up to really catch a breath And so that makes things difficult. But, as far as the practice setup and organization of it, it's been ran the same. It's just like the physical challenges, I would say, that are the hardest, that just have to be cognizant and thinking about as we go through a practice.